when it's my time to be in a nursing home, I want to make sure it's fully staffed.
But equally, as a sector, I don't think we're good at failing fast.
Business is ultimately about building relationships with people who can help each other.
Just in case you're going to clip this little bit, cause a little controversy.
We're going to clip this. Welcome to Time Well Spent, the podcast for decision makers, providers, and everyone working to make a difference in care. I'm Dane Mitchell, joined by my co-host, Rose Plater.
Together, we bring 31 years of combined experience and still counting, and a shared passion for reimagining aged care and community health. From policy and reform to leadership, culture, and connection, this is where we explore new ideas, hear what leaders really think, and uncover what it takes to create environments where time is truly well spent. Our guest today is here to bring sexy back to aged care.
Anthony Nguyen, recruiter and host of the Pioneers in Aged Care podcast, has made it his mission to change the way the sector tells its story, Rose.
From the job ads he writes to the conversations he's having with leaders, it all comes back to one thing: shifting how people see aged care.
And today, we're digging into what that really means and how storytelling might be the key to fixing the workforce crisis.
Is there anything else you want to tell me about Anthony? Great mate.
Oh, we're friends, yeah, for sure. I was one of his first podcast sponsors.
We're bringing a competitor onto this?
Well, considering
collaborator.
we're very early in our podcast journey, I'm not sure he was too worried. No, he's a great guy. I think what I like about him is just his willingness to take a risk. He's spent the last 12 months traveling around the country, recording podcast episodes.
He's basically spoken to all the aged care royalty in Australia, I think. He's covered it all.
Pretty much. So
he's even interviewed you, hasn't he?
Well, he may have interviewed me, Rose. You'll have to watch to find out.
Okay.
Anthony, welcome to the
Thank
Time
you.
Well Spent podcast.
I'm excited to be here. Good name, by the way. I like
Thanks.
it.
Mate, 4 out of 5 older Australians would rather avoid residential care. Is our workforce crisis actually a brand crisis?
Yeah. And that was the whole reason I started the podcast. Coming into my previous employer, they said, Anthony, do you want to recruit for nurses? And I thought, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot. I think prior to that, I was an allied health recruiter. And
You're pretty good at that too, by the way.
I was okay. I was doing well. And ACFI was the funding model at the time. But even speaking to allied health professionals, aged care was not where they wanted to go unless they wanted to make some easy money, or they would just want to switch off and just use their hands. But then they have their whole issues with their hands going, RSI and everything.
We're doing the old ACFI 4B massages. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
20-minute massages all day, every day.
And then you decided to do sexy nurse campaigns.
Sexy nurse campaigns. That was, yeah. And we'll get into that. But the sexy nurse campaign, it hit a soft and sore spot with some people. Soft because people needed to hear that aged care was sexy, but obviously we're using that word just to be a bit of a trigger. But then it hit a sore spot because, people were just saying, no, aged care is terrible. So it divided people, but when you divide people and become polarizing, then you get a bit of traction. And I guess that's how my advert hit the news and everything.
Absolutely. I have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I always said that I'd get out of aged care once it got sexy. So do you want me out? Or?
It's not yet. We're bringing it back. Yeah, it hasn't arrived yet. Well, not to the masses. To those in the industry, yeah, it's a great place to be. If you know, you know. If you're in it, then you're excited about it. But if you're not, and I've sort of been in this bubble where I'm in and around people in aged care, and we're all excited about it. Go to all the conferences and things are happening. Changes is being implemented, and we're all excited about it. And I thought, okay, we were getting there. But then you go online outside of aged care, and as soon as I go on Reddit, I go on TikTok, I've got a TikTok page. My videos don't do well on TikTok.
Do you dance?
Do you have the sexy nurses?
I do not have sexy nurses. And no, it's not let's bring sexy nurses back to age. It's not bring sexy nurses back to age. It's help us recognize the beauty. So just in case you're going to clip this little bit, cause a little controversy.
We're going to clip this.
Bring sexy nurses back to aged care. No, that's not the theme. That's not the core message. But yeah, it did trigger a lot of people. But yeah, you go on TikTok, you go on Reddit, you go on those nursing pages, and when people talk about aged care and whether it's a good career option, I'm just reading all the comments and they say, no, it's still terrible. It's still understaffed, underfunded, under-resourced. Don't do it. You go on TikTok. I had Fabio Mayer
from For Purpose Aged Care.
Yes. Yep. So I clipped one of his clips, went on TikTok, and it's the most commented on clip that I had because he was suggesting a specialist nursing degree where it's aged care specialist. So just above an EN, just below an RN, because an RN in aged care doesn't need midwifery experience. They don't need to know how to prep for theatre. So he thought, well, let's just get rid of those stuff and just focus on what you actually need to know. And maybe we can get people, students and nursing students out of university faster and help address
less cost too, right?
Yeah, less cost. But I think because of the reputation
that
aged care
sounds like
has,
a sexy nurse ad. I like that. That's good.
That was a great idea.
I've never been a nurse, Dave.
But all the commenters, they were just like, oh, why would you want to work in aged care? You're just trying to find a way to pay nurses less.
Yeah.
Because it has that stigma of being underpaid. But aged care employees aren't underpaid anymore.
Yeah. I think that stigma is still there. I started as a personal carer in aged care. And I think there was an element of sorrow when people, or empathy when you told people that that's what you were doing. It was like, oh, is it that tough that you have to be a personal carer almost? Yeah. And it was quite shocking because it is a beautiful place to work and enriching in meeting people. There's not many jobs where you get to be hands-on and hearing stories and making a difference in people's lives. That one-on-one care. It is. If you haven't done it, I can understand why you don't think it's sexy. But
no, absolutely, it's a huge honor to be working in aged care. And one of my most recent guests, Jason Binder, said it. He said, if you're a CEO of an industry outside of aged care, there's lots of prestige and honor associated with it. But people think if you're a CEO in aged care, then, maybe you couldn't make it anywhere else. I think I'm paraphrasing. But the message is working in aged care, honoring the people that came before us who helped build this country, they need us now. It's our time to step up. And selfishly, when it's my time to be in a nursing home, I want to make sure it's fully staffed.
Yeah.
Because I've been to a lot of these nursing homes and I think, I could live here. And you're not necessarily, it's a good option to have, not so you don't have to burden your own children and family. But a lot of these places are pretty nice, and it's not just the aesthetically pleasing facility, it's the people that make it, and people generally perform better and are happier when they don't have to carry all the load. So let's make sure we're fully staffed by the time we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think in the Royal Commission and with all the negative media attention about, CEOs in aged care driving Lamborghinis, I still haven't met one. Have you met any Lamborghinis?
No, I haven't met any Lamborghinis.
There was the narrative around private aged care and we can't be seen to be having a good income in the sector as well.
Yeah, that sucks, right? Because I don't know. I'm hoping to be so successful one day that I can drive a Lamborghini too. But at the same,
you did catch the bus here.
I did caught the bus here. If you see my clothes are wrinkly, my jacket is wrinkly because I just yanked it out of the luggage. But it's one of those things. You got to have your own personal ambitions and aspirations for yourself. But the media will take up whatever they can just to sell the papers and get their clicks, and that's their job. But it's doing us no favors. So that's the whole point of my podcast, to sort of offset that. Because when I started recruiting for nurses in 2021, huge shortage. All my clients, every facility manager I call would say, give me 20 nurses. This is in Metro City as well. I would make registered nursing placements. They'd say, even give me new grads. Give me anyone with a pulse, right? Yeah. And then I'd call the nurses, and as soon as I say the words aged care, they hang up the phone on me, or they say those words: understaffed, underfunded, under-resourced. And that's when I got that idea, when I'm sitting in front of my clients and they would just get so passionate about aged care. And I thought, can you just say what you said again? Let me get a camera, record what you just said, send it to a few nurses and say, hey, before you take that role in the hospital, check out this interview I just had and watch what they're saying. If that's someone you want to work for, maybe you should take that interview. And I changed a lot of minds in that way. And the podcast took off. It provided other benefits as well. And bringing sexy back.
That's the origin of Pioneers in Aged Care podcast.
Yeah, that's the origin story.
So is it about changing how the public sees aged care, or is it more about changing how the workforce sees aged care, or both?
I think we start with the workforce, and then once the workforce is happily here, performing well, the industry is performing well, I think we can make aged care perceived as the place to be. Right now, you any Hollywood stories, healthcare related, they'll be based in a hospital. I'm starting to see some movies being based in nursing homes, but it's kind of like a gimmick.
Tends to be about the dementia
Yeah.
resident trying to get out. doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to break out. So we start with the workforce, make the industry and the facilities and support at home, not just aged care, residential aged care, but home
Community as
care,
well,
community, retirement living. Yeah, we make that attractive first. And then once we're fully staffed, it's running well, and I think the general public will see it as a viable and attractive place to be.
And the reality is it is, that perception from work people like Rose do, if you look at any of the newly built homes, is the days of them being institutions are long gone. And no doubt there's still some older facilities that need some love and attention. That's what
You can also talk to me about that if
Rosie's
you
here
like.
to fix for us. But even in those older places, the care and the quality of people running them is what determines whether mum or dad has a good experience or not. And I think it's an unfair perception. I think you're doing great work trying to change that.
Yeah, bringing light on the sexy that is there, right?
Yeah. And again, just in case, because I did get so the first 4 weeks that the ad ran, I was getting nothing but compliments. A lot of messages saying, we love that. That's something fresh that we need. After a month had ticked over, I got 2 negative emails on the Monday morning coming into that, and they were just saying, I can't believe you would use such a misogynistic word like sexy and painting nurses that way. And then another email was saying, aged care is not sexy. My mother had this terrible experience. And that sucks that they had that experience. But what I'm trying to do is make sure they don't have that experience, but by bringing in a workforce.
Passionate people.
Exactly.
Well, I think I'm very passionate about trying to raise awareness around ageism, right? And this idea that our clients can't be sexy in terms of our aging residents, right? It's such a patronizing thing that we could say that no, an aged care resident can't be sexy because they are still an adult and deserve to have that.
And it's funny that you said that because I interviewed Jo Boylan, the CEO of Clayton. Her episode comes out on Thursday, but she was talking about ageism versus paternalism, and that's sort of, she finally helped me. I'm slow to pick up on all these little nuances about aged care, but I have to rewatch the episodes. So she helped me understand the difference between paternalism and ageism, sort of same, but the intention is different. And then there's, like you said, aging is seen as not sexy, or I forgot who I read said the story, but when you see old people hold hands and they kiss and you go, oh, right? There was someone interviewed that said, if I ever hear that about myself when I kiss my husband, I'll just say F off, because what's so cute about it? It's, why are you saying that to me, but you don't say that to someone else, 30 years younger? So there's that ageism there. Just because I'm old, I can't show sexual affection within reason in public. So there's
it becomes this kind of in your younger years, you can talk about sex and intimacy, and it's quite a normal part of our conversations, depending on your relationship status, perhaps.
Yeah.
But then after a certain age, it becomes there's this real stigma attached to it that we need to keep fighting against. Yeah, absolutely.
Marie Alford in her recent episode said, "Aged care is where you've got sex, drugs, and rock and roll."
Absolutely.
Right?
We can all hope, right?
Yeah. We've got a customer here.
Look, in saying that, in the last quarter, residential aged care complaints, there was 1,606, which is a 13.7% increase in the same quarter last year. So we're still getting a lot of negative responses in these surveys. Is that hurting your clients in terms of their employment proposition?
I didn't know those stats. And I can't comment on what type of complaints they get. I did say to Tom Simonson, I said to him, "I'm sure you get a lot of complaints." And he said, "I don't get complaints. I get feedback."
I heard that.
So,
I guess it's on that as well. Like, it's even that is that actually, no, the sector can still complain and we still need to listen, and there's still improvements there, right? Which is why your campaign's so powerful, because we need to be attracting good people that may not have thought of this sector before, that can, give them a little window. So I do hope that we get some more TikTok views on your on your campaigns.
Yeah, it's not a platform I'm pushing just yet.
I did see your viral dance,
might-
AI dance video. We might clip that in.
AI generated for a reason. I cannot dance like that.
I don't believe it for a second, Anthony. So, mate, you've got a young family as well, and you currently live in Perth, but moving over
to Brisbane. Yes,
you got a full-time recruiting gig and a growing business yourself.
Yep.
Why start a podcast on top of that? And was there a moment where you recognized the need for a platform like the Pioneers podcast?
I started it in February, and I don't know. I didn't even know how to start a proper podcast. But yeah, I needed to start a marketing agency for 6 months. And I thought, how am I going to earn a living for 6 months? So I started the Pioneers in Aged Care podcast. I decided I'm going to fly around Australia. I'm doing these podcasts in person because I think the conversation is a lot more natural rather than on Zoom, because there's a bit of delay and feedback and you can't have that genuine experience. And I thought, okay, I'll start that, but I'm not going to get millions of views, not going to get millions of clicks. How am I going to monetize it? So I just put a call out. I reached out to a few people and say, "Hey, give me some money." No, I just said, "Hey, I'm starting a podcast.
Did any of them own Lamborghinis?
No, none of them own Lamborghinis. Basically, I just reached out to a few people that I had built relationships with over the past. Said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. I've got a good network. I can get in front of people. I can get your brand in front of people. If it's a win-win to you, then help me out. Help me get in front of them, and I'll help you do the same." And yeah, I had a lot of support from people like yourself, get me through those tough 6 months. And I'm very thankful for it.
So you're 40 odd episodes in.
Yep.
Has the guest mix shifted, or what sort of ideal guest are you looking for?
So the core guests, I am typically leaning towards the CEO executive space for a few reasons. One, the job title does attract more viewers and it would attract more sponsorship. Typically, those executives have run through the full gamut of roles. So they've started from carers all the way up so they can understand the experience.
The industry.
Yeah. But I called it Pioneers in Aged Care. The previous podcast was called Leaders in Aged Care, and that was more C-suite executive. But I called it Pioneers because you can pioneer the industry in a lot of different ways. You can be an executive chef, or you can be a cleaner. You could be you can be a PCA and be a pioneer in your day-to-day job. And my favorite story was reading about someone who learned sign language just so they can communicate with one single resident. I thought, oh my God, like to learn a whole language for one person, if that's not pioneering in what you do, if that's not a great story to show how amazing the industry is, now I don't know what is. So I wanted to include people who weren't necessarily at the top of the hierarchy. So frontline leaders. I did want to include innovators and inventors. VR and obviously robots are huge.
Yeah,
huge
you've had some
thing.
interesting guests on that recently, right?
Yeah, so I just wanted to be inclusive to cater to that sort of guest.
Those
mix
that
as
are
well.
maybe leading change in the industry.
Yeah, through different ways.
Whether that's of a provider or it's of a service business to the industry.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm not. I'm a little bit intentional with who I'm asking to be a guest, but at the same time, if I hear a story about someone doing something awesome, like one of my favorite episodes was with David Martin, executive chef at St. Vincent's. And he just won so many culinary awards, not aged care culinary awards, but worldwide culinary awards.
It's amazing though to have that skills.
Yeah.
So he's now using those skills in aged care.
I know. Imagine
That's
being
brilliant.
a
How
resident.
sexy is that?
Yeah. Imagine being a resident there and getting to eat like the food that you'd expect only at the
At a restaurant, high-end restaurant.
high-end restaurants.
So you're 40, 50 episodes in. You've done a lot of
About
episodes.
there, yeah.
Looking back at some of the early ones, are there some things that you wish you would have asked?
That's good question. Good question. Because only recently, I think about 40 episodes in, I started asking my guests, what are their mistakes? Because I started reading, there was a lot of sentiment. LinkedIn is my newsfeed, and there was a bit of sentiment pushing against the leaders in the aged care sector about the Lamborghinis, and they're on their high horses and porcelain thrones. That's a toy. Their thrones.
I'm not editing
I know
that.
you're keeping that.
That's
You're
staying in,
definitely
mate. Bad luck. Play on.
Now, continence management. How do we make that sexy?
Yeah, good segue. All right, let's talk about continence management. Oh my God.
Sorry.
But there was a bit of sentiment against them because they're maybe too far removed from what's going on the ground floor, and they're not really looking to make change. They're looking to make some money, and I thought these guys are shouldering a huge, a weight on their shoulders as well, because everything that goes wrong, they're the ones that do get blamed. So how do I humanize them from being these, just up on that pedestal where people can just try to knock them down? So I started asking them, what are your mistakes along the way? What areas did you make in your career that shaped how you got here? Because they do make mistakes. They're humans, and I want to hear about it. And I want to hear about it because I make a lot of mistakes. I've stuffed up so many, like porcelain throne. I've stuffed up so many times along my career journey that I'm very embarrassed about because I'm not thinking straight. And I'm sure they've got stories to share as well. So that's something I wish I started asking from the beginning.
I think that's a really lovely point, though. Like, we, as a sector, there's been a lot of horrendous media that's, caused, I guess, the mission of the bringing sexy back. But equally, as a sector, I don't think we're good at failing fast and owning the mistakes, but at least trying, like, this is something I've tried. It hasn't worked out. How can I make it better? And sharing of those mistakes, is others learning, right? So that we're all not going down the same route.
Yeah.
Thinking it's a new idea.
Exactly.
I think that is the path though, right? I think every person who's grown a business or leads a business, we've all got the same embarrassing mistakes.
I called you the other day about one of the most embarrassing. Well, I won't share it here. I'll share it off camera. But yeah.
But equally, it wasn't, I can't actually remember the details, but I think we spoke about it for 3 minutes and you're like, yeah, it's not that bad. Play on, we'll get on with it. And But I think that's the path, right?
Yeah.
Of any business or any leader is you make mistakes.
Failing fast, like Rose said, failing fast is...
But taking responsibility too, right? And I think when you take, in my business, we talk about it all the time, sometimes service recovery builds you a better relationship than good service in the first place. Like, you will make mistakes. Our team make mistakes. I make mistakes. But if you genuinely take responsibility for it, you go out of your way to fix it, you over-communicate, you don't brush it under the carpet, your relationship with that person who has the problem that you've created, we've found comes out far stronger.
Yeah. Just with you, like you gave me a role to work on, and I was like, it was my first role, and I even said to you, I think I forgot how to recruit. Anyway, so I called this physio, and I was just going through the questions, and I was like trying to figure out what questions to ask. I got all the info, sent the CV through, and there was a nagging feeling. I thought, oh, shit. I called you back. I was like, I don't think you should take this guy because I don't think he's suitable for you. I'm sorry for sending that CV through. I didn't. There were some more boxes I should have ticked. More of a, yeah, like you said, own up to it. As soon as you figured you made the mistake or someone calls you out on it, just own up to it, and the relationship moves forward.
100%.
I listened on the way here, your interview with Tom Simonson, which is beautiful as always.
Thank you.
Well done. But one thing did trigger me a little in the episode, which was the discussion around complaints. Oh no, I get feedback. And I think that was really frustrating for me to hear in terms of that shift. And that are we still as a industry body not listening to complaints? If there are we trying to address them as feedback?
Yeah, I think in his defense, and maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, but I think I think he was just being nice. Maybe he was just being nice. He's trying to say everyone is not a whinger. They're just people trying to help us get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they are complaints, but he's just reframing it to say we're taking it on constructively.
Yeah. But I think, I guess maybe this is too brave for episode 3, Dane.
Go for
it. Go.
But I think as an industry body, and, you know, Dane and I are board members of different providers, I need someone in the corner for me that can take on complaints and can grow from them. Because I think if we're saying feedback is softer, right? Feedback can be just the white noise feedback. But if I've got a complaint to make about my industry body, I actually want it heard as a complaint, not feedback.
Yeah.
And I guess that's probably where maybe I'm getting cancelled after episode 3.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Tom, her email address is. But yeah, no, I totally agree. I think when there is a legit complaint to be made, it needs to be addressed and heard as a complaint.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us do feel strongly about, like I'm all about bringing sexy aged care. I don't want to be to have this toxic positivity though. I'm just trying to be I'm just offsetting.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that there are issues and those issues need to be heard. But yeah, I guess I'm starting to be afraid to be seen as just glossing over the issues. And so I'm slowly starting to ask questions around the issues. And that's mainly because I'm starting to understand them. I interviewed Tom 12 months ago. I have no idea what he's saying. I didn't understand what he was saying because I didn't understand the industry enough. I'm very proud of that episode with Tom because I was engaged. I was like, I know everything that's coming out of his mouth. Not everything, maybe 90%, but it was a turning point for me. So I'm very proud of that episode. Sorry, I digress from your original point.
That's right. You're making sure I'm not getting cancelled. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, mate, we spoke about it before, but I was one of your first sponsors with my allied health business. If I'm honest, when I first jumped on that I felt like you probably beat me to the punch because that was an idea I'd had for a while. But we've since become mates and, you know, we talk pretty regularly about what you're doing. And
I'll text you on a Sunday.
What we're doing. Yeah. We work 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But I think the thing I love most about you, mate, is when I come to you and said, hey, I actually think I need to do this for my business. And I want to do it. I want to do a podcast, but I don't want to step on your toes. I want it to be different. Your response was, who cares? Go for it. I don't care. In fact, I'll be your first guest. And I love that about you. And you're third, by the way. You're not first, but.
Doesn't mean
first the worst, second the best.
Yeah.
The golden princess. I'll take it.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's better or worse. But anyway, I'm just interested where that collaborative approach comes from because I think a lot of people would be protective, I suppose, of that. Yeah. But instead you're saying, in fact, you said to me, do it. I'll promote it for you.
Yeah. I think I learned that from one of my previous employers, give them a plug, ACM Healthcare. One of the directors, this is 2017, they're way ahead of their time. Maybe they were a little too ahead because because right now it's 2025, personal branding and social media is key, right? Anyone can start a business if they've got their own personal branding out there. Back then, it was more about the organization and the organization's brand. But they said, and I was working for them at the time, and they said, you need to pump out videos. You need to do something. You need to give was his message. And I remember that. Just give, and eventually people are going to start giving back. Give stuff away. Give candidates away. Don't even charge for that invoice if there's a problem. I didn't necessarily take on board 100% of the things that they said, but the key message was just share and give, and eventually it will come back. And in 2017, I just completed my personal training qualifications at the time, and I had a home gym, and I was recruiting for allied health. So I thought, okay, how am I going to give? I opened up my gym 6 a.m. every Friday, invited all my clients and candidates to show up for a boot camp. And through that, I got to become friends with people. They'd show up and do a boot camp, and business took off from there. And that was my first lesson into, if you just give, right, no expectation of anything back. I didn't call them back and ask for business. They just end up giving it to you.
My dad, I started in business when I was 18. A story for another day.
Only a few years ago, though, wasn't it?
Yes. Different generation to you, Rosie. But the first bit of business advice my dad gave me, and it's still true, it's business is ultimately about building relationships with people who can help each other. And I think podcasting, I don't think it's zero sum. Like if you help us, we help you. It's win-win, right? It's not a It's not a zero sum game.
I mean, your success doesn't take away from my success.
That's right. You've had some big names on your podcast: Charles Moore at Baptist Care, Frank Price at RFBI, Phil Mackney at Bupa, Sandra Hills as well. Do you have a personal favourite guest? And why is it guest from episode number 23?
It was 23. Forgot that one.
It was mad.
I would struggle to pick, and again, I don't want to name it because I learned something from everyone different. I learned a little bit from. Wouldn't want to name them because it's just me naming all of them. Everyone's brought something different. Although the one with David Martin, where he cooked me a 5-course meal, 3 Michelin star hat, it was amazing food. So after the episode, I got to try the food that the residents have. So I might have to go that way. But yes, yours is up there.
Thank you.
Wasn't there an Angus steak promised at the end of yours, Derek?
There was. Yeah. There was. We'll find time over the weekend.
Was there a guest who completely surprised you? If you think back, that you're expecting something that may have been a very vanilla conversation, but went somewhere a little bit different.
Yeah, the one that surprised me was Frank Price. It was a combination of everything. So going on the podcasting journey, trying to figure out a business that I had no idea how to run, a marketing agency essentially, and then doing all this podcasting stuff. But the outpouring of love and support from everyone in the industry, from my supporters, that feeling just built and built and built. And then when I had that episode with Frank Price, he was just talking about everything that he and the organization does for his employees, where they provide free housing to their employees. And it just got to a point where I cried. I bloody cried in the episode. I had to stop him. I told my wife to cut it out, but she kept bits of it in. So there I am, sniffling and snotting away, and he grabs me a tissue. And I think I was surprised from that because I was just overwhelmed with how much love I had received and how much love he gives back to his organization. He called himself the unaccounting accountant, basically a bean counter coming out of his finance industry and finding joy in his work.
Frank's a great leader.
He is a great leader.
They've got a women's accommodation in Bellingen, which we were lucky enough to make a small contribution towards when they were setting that up. And I think they turned an old age care home, which doesn't meet the code anymore, to affordable housing for women. That's a great
Yeah.
They do lots of things like that. Out of all your interviews, which guest do you think gave the best advice for leaders who are trying to make their organization a place that people actually want to work?
I don't remember. I'm sure all of them gave great advice. The one that I do remember is, I remember because of its simplicity. Phil McNee said, have a crack, right? He is, in his words, he's never the smartest person in the room, but he works his ass off, but he gives the green light to everyone in his team to have a crack. If you do fail, that's basically us investing in your learning experience. So try it, figure it out, learn from the mistakes, move forward, but just giving the green light, having a crack.
I love that. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's the story of my life.
It's worked a few times. You know,
Sometimes
people start to catch on.
And if you're looking back in 10 years' time, what do you hope that your podcast has left to the sector?
I hope people look back and go, why is he trying to bring sexy back to aged care? It hasn't always been like this. Hasn't always been amazing. Like, what is this doom and gloom he's talking about? I think in 10 years, hopefully, it's the number one industry that people quote when they're coming out of uni. Because they come out of uni right now and they say they want to work in the hospital, in theatre. I'm hoping they say, I want to work in aged care.
If you were talking to a 25-year-old nurse and they were deciding between hospital or an aged care job, what's your one-line pitch to choose aged care?
I say there are more career pathways in aged care, because hospital, and don't get me wrong, my dad was in hospital recently, so I don't want to take away, staff from the hospitals. I just want to level the playing field. I just want people to see aged care as attractive as other industries. So love what the hospital staff do, but there's two different things. In aged care, if you've got other career aspirations and not just clinical, if you have just clinical aspirations, then you can still go very far. There's so many different pathways clinically that you can take. But the entrepreneurial side, the business side of things, the knowing how to run what is essentially a hotel for older people and all the services around that, the dining experience you can give someone, all the different inventions that are coming out, it is really exciting. So I'd say varied career pathways, and maybe getting an education in running a business. Maybe you don't want to just be a nurse or allied health professional anymore. You want to start your own business. Being in aged care and understanding the commercial side of it, the numbers, really boosts that capability, and you can jump into other areas.
Ultimately, what you're saying is there's opportunity there, and it's not just clinical.
Yeah.
Give it a crack.
Give it a crack.
Give it a crack. Ask for forgiveness.
Now, Anthony, if you wake up tomorrow, and I'm going to challenge you here. So if you wake up tomorrow and it's your turn to be a customer of one of the aged care, residential aged care facilities or home care, what do you want to see? And this is the final minute. So tell us what you really think.
What I want to see, if I could, it's probably unique to me. I don't know. I want a ping pong table, right? Yeah. I want a gaming room to play my Call of Duty, so I can play with my kids and my grandkids from the comfort of my own home. That's how we can connect online if they can't always visit me. That'd be awesome, and I can talk trash to them online. I'd want a basketball court, because with reablement, I'm sure I'd still be able to.
We'll keep you going, mate.
Yeah, keep me going. I want my weights room, and food. Food is key. I want I don't know, maybe a dancing studio so I can do those Korean dance moves that Dane's going to show me later.
Are we still hosting a podcast too?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, share stories with all the residents through a different type of podcast unless mine's still going. Yeah, that's what I want.
What you want is you want to continue your life, but have support around you.
Oh, yes. That's a great message.
Thank you for joining us on the Time Well Spent podcast.
No, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate having me on, and glad I could be your third guest. Golden Princess.
Thanks for listening to this episode.
If this was time well spent for you, follow the podcast so you never miss an episode.
If you want to support us, leave a review and share it with someone in your network who might get value from it.
Finally, a thanks to our partners who make this possible. Painters, your design and construction partner.
And Optum Allied Health, your physiotherapy and allied health partner. You can find the links in the show notes.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next episode.